Here we go, jumping into some more Ford fun. Hey, never knew I could make a business, YouTube, from fixing old busted Fords, but here we are. So sitting in this old girl, this is a 460 gas, okay? Now what we're looking at is we have a fuel delivery issue. Fuel is delivered on the rail. It's about 40 PSI, it's about 38, somewhere around in there should be your average. Should always be that number right there. However, on this 460, we have a high pressure pump and we have two low pressure pumps. High pressure pump is right there on the inside of the fuel rail. There's only one of those, and that's the guy that kicks it up from the two internal pumps, because this is going to have what they call low pressure. It's going to be about 5 to 8 in each tank will have a low pressure pump, and there's some other stuff in between in there, okay? But this high pressure takes that low pressure and then it jacks it all the way up and it goes to the fuel rail. And with the key in the on position, you should be hearing all this stuff kick on, and then it'll turn off. Well, the problem is those fuel pumps, well, they're notorious for going out on these old Fords, and well, it does come on, but there's cavitation in the high pressure pump because I can hear it like, and sure enough, I disconnected the high pressure pump down below. Now, before I jump down there, this is a little Schrader valve, and all you do, you get a screwdriver and you poke it, and that's when your key's in the on position, and it should skeet out. The gas should come spraying out. That's how these work. If your key is in the on position and it's not squirting out like all over your hand and everything, then you've got a fuel delivery issue. Okay, so here we are right underneath the driver's seat on the inside of the rail, and right there, this is the original high pressure pump right here. Now it is loose. Sorry about my shaking. I'm trying to not shake, but that's the way it's designed. Okay, it's okay to be loose like that. Now the pressure comes in. Now I have something rigged right here next to me, and well, I fed it gasoline, and truck kept running. Okay, it wasn't pretty, but that's how I confirmed. And I basically used a low pressure mock-up, and I had this tied up on the side of the bed so that way this would do what's called gravity feeding. So that way it'd give me the pressure enough to feed this high pressure pump, and then, I didn't have any fuel coming out down from there, so that tells me my fuel pumps more than likely just shot and need to be replaced. And right next to it is a fuel filter, that little shiny canister looking thing right there. Not easy to get to, but it is right there. Now this canister looking thing, this is a single function canister. Okay, now you can see that these two lines are off because that's how I was trying to figure out what was wrong with the truck. So I popped them off, and I was noticing that a little fuel only came out of this one here. Okay, now there's a return and there's a feed. Now this goes to one tank, that's going to be the front, and the top one goes to the back tank. All right, so, oh, nasty gas, oh, nasty gas, oh. Gas is not something you want to get on you. Anyways, sour gas too, not even the good smelling gas. But regardless, this probably pops off, probably change out something there, but regardless, I have an issue with the feed, so there's no sense of popping this thing off. But yeah, so you can see how the 4 lines go to 2 lines, okay? And so these 2 lines, one feeds the high pressure pump. You really want to know, you can follow it down through there. And the other one's the return. Comes back from the regulator. When the fuel pressure is too high in the line, the regulator releases and sends it back. Now, if you're dealing with a different issue, I suggest you check your fuel pressure regulator, because if that regulator is given out, your truck will hesitate and stall and all kinds of crazy stuff. I've seen some other guys have that issue too, to where it's as simple as a regulator. However, this issue, I can't even get the pumps to fully turn on. They're locking up. Okay, now here is the fuel pressure regulator. Okay, now remember, if this thing gives out, it's going to be giving out when the pressure is not high enough. Say like maybe 20 psi, 25 psi. Stuff goes bad. It's just what stuff does. Nothing lasts forever, except that. And if it does, you just change this guy out if you confirm that you don't have enough pressure on the rail. But remember, before you do all this, you need to make sure you're getting pressure to your high pressure pump, because you're probably dealing with, like what I'm dealing with, is a bad fuel pump. Internally, the low pressure one, not the high pressure. I've already started taking off this truck bed, and for this bed, factory wise, there's 8 3/4 inch hex bolts. One is right there, the other one's over there. There's another one right there, 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 and there, and there. It's easy to have a friend on the top. That way you have somebody using an impact of some sort to busting these suckers loose. And then you or whoever gets on the bottom, and it's another 3/4 on the bottom, and it's hex nuts. Now you can upgrade that on Amazon. They've got a kit where you can buy, and it's like little clips basically that clip onto the frame. Well, anyways, you should be able to find those. Just type in carriage bolt for Ford or something like that, and you should see all kinds of stuff popping up. But it makes it easier to take your bed off if you plan on doing it again in the near future. So this is harder, but so these are seized on the bottom, so there's a pretty good fat chance that I'm gonna have to grind the hex tops off of these suckers and do the same thing I did on this truck, did it to my truck. So that's my truck over there. But yeah, that one's a diesel, this one's the gas one. But regardless, I'm gonna keep moving, show you how it's not too hard to pop these things off. It really helps to have some power to getting the beds off, because these things do suck. So all right, so assume we got those 8 bolts popped off, loosen out of there however you decide to do it, grind them off or whatever you end up doing. There's 3 little bolts here, 1, 2, 3. Take them off. You have a second tank. Well, it's twice as fun. Yeah, you're gonna end up popping that bar off is what I'm trying to say, and that way this will go around that filler neck. Just took off the tailgate. Hopefully you know how to do that. It's not hard at all. So I'm not going to tell you how to do that, because you should be smart to do that. If you can't figure it out, you need to stop here, because this job is way too hard for you. So there's a couple ways to do this. You can either pop that off and shove the lights back down that hole and make them dangle down below. But actually what you could do is all you have to undo is that clip right there. Right, because I'm back here looking at it. Sorry about the dog in the background. But just undo that clip, and that'll undo the lights, so you can separate the bed completely. Yeah, so I was able to get that gray connector that's off right there. There's only that one, and it powers all this stuff. So you don't actually have to take the lights off like I did. But your other option is, if you don't want to fight that plug, or if it's hard to get to, you can just undo it here, rip all this off, and then shove it down in the little hole down there, and that works too. Okay, the 8 carriage bolts are out, and now it's time to lift this sucker. Now you might have this, you might not, but disconnect it from down below. Wiggle and jiggle, that's how it goes. Getting it slowly. Hey, don't you judge my YouTube. Now if internet's right, based on my research, the black one here, the black relay I took off, that one's the PCM relay. Hit your key switch on and powers the PCM with this relay. But the green one that's over there, the green one, that's your actual fuel pump relay. So once the PCM kicks on and does its thing, this relay closes and it sends power. Now then there's another part. This is our test little pigtail. I don't know what they call it on the internet, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to, okay, so you can see how I have this jumpered about like that, and so this is completing. This is a side circuit from the negative, and it jumpers that relay for the fuel circuit. Now something's running.
This is the print for this particular truck, spot on. And I circled the part we are testing.
Okay, so here we are. I still have that relay jumpered. Ignition's in the on position. Okay, so that fuel pump relay's closed. And I have my battery voltage back here, so it's confirmed that relay is sending power through. And I've got my orange and I've got my red wire with my leads in it. And I've got battery voltage down here, so that means that I have voltage going to this pump, but the pump is not kicking on. That noise you hear down there running, that is a high pressure pump pushing nothing but air right now, so I'm going to go ahead and stop him. Here we go. I'm going to manually brake that relay. There. Manually broke it because it's doing nothing but pushing air. Okay, so here we are. Now I'm going to ohm out these 2 pins and see if there's anything obvious with my ohm meter. Hopefully you know how to use one of those. Okay, so here we are. I have a short to ground. All I did is I stabbed my lead on the gas tank there. Surprised it doesn't go through the gas tank. And I've got, it's in the millions here, but it is a short to the circuit to ground where it's not supposed to be shorting at. So there we are. I've got a bad fuel pump. Yep. And that's how you test it. Okay, so I went ahead and checked the back one per customer's request. And what we have here is the orange one and that striped brown one. It looks to be my power one. And so I ohmed these out. And I had about 4 ohms, where the front one I had like 13 ohms. But regardless, it's still shorting out to ground. So this pump is also bad. Never mind that cut there, I did that. And if you're wondering what this line is on top, there's a steel line that goes in there. That looks like it's probably a vapor line. It goes to the top of this. It's not a return, okay? Because one of these is gonna be the return and one of them's the supply. But it just goes over here. If you see that, it's just a vent, and it's for the charcoal circuit. Okay, so I just have a test light, and it's just right there on the rail. And what I'm trying to do is I'm verifying that I have voltage coming to this. Now it's a little low, battery's a little low, plus the voltage drops, so the light's gonna be really dim. All right, kiddo, go ahead and turn it off and then turn it back on. Did you do it? Oh, there it is. And by that red and black wire there, that's my power. Turn it off and turn it back on. And there we go. So we have our momentary thing where it turns on and pressurizes, and then it turns off as soon as the engine runs. Then it kicks on the fuel pump.